It is Nelia, 4:45 p.m. on a Friday. You are sitting on the edge of your bed, staring blankly at your phone screen, watching your battery tick down, and feeling your own internal battery do the exact same thing. You have spent the entire week making decisions. You've answered the emails, you've masked your exhaustion in the meetings, and you have been perceived by other people for 5 straight days. And now, you are facing the ultimate modern dilemma. You deeply crave human connection. You genuinely love your friends. You want to be that fun, spontaneous, social person you think you're supposed to be. But the actual physical thought of taking off your soft, comfortable clothes, forcing your tired body into a pair of stiff denim jeans, what we affectionately call hard pants, and migrating across town to sit at a loud, crowded dinner party feels like an actual prison sentence. If your chest tightens just hearing that, I completely get it. This is the moment the guilt spiral starts. Your brain launches into its anxious inner monologue. You tell yourself, come on, just go for 2 hours. If you bail, they're going to think you're a terrible friend. You're going to lose your circle. You're becoming a total hermit. You sit there, silently swallowing this heavy, suffocating feeling that you are somehow broken because you don't want to go out and have fun. And then your screen lights up. It is a text from the friend organizing the night out. You brace yourself, open it, and read the magical words. Hey, I am so sorry, but I am completely swamped and just so exhausted. Can we reschedule? I want you to think about that specific, unmatched, full-body wave of relief that washes over you in that exact second. It is sheer, unadulterated euphoria. Your shoulders instantly drop 3 inches. You exhale a breath you didn't even know you were holding in, and you immediately put your sweatpants back on. Welcome back to Paperweight Thoughts. I'm here to help you navigate the messy parts of adulting without losing your mind. If you know that exact feeling of cancellation euphoria, I need you to listen to me very closely right now. We instinctually think that this feeling of dread, this secret, desperate hope that your friend will text and cancel first, means that we are antisocial. We tell ourselves it is a massive character flaw. But let's be radically honest for a second. That is the ultimate low EQ blind spot. The mistake we make is assuming that your reluctance to go to a crowded bar or a loud restaurant is a flaw in your personality. It is not. It is a completely normal, strictly biological response to burnout. You are not a bad friend. Your nervous system is just desperately trying to protect you after a week of being completely overstimulated. You do not hate your friends. You just hate the sensory overload that is currently required to see them. You are not a bad person for choosing your peace over a dinner reservation. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt that wave of pure, undeniable joy when someone cancels a social obligation on you? Drop a couch emoji down below if you know exactly what I am talking about. Because today, we are going to look at why we trap ourselves in this cycle and how to finally break out of it. So, why do we do this? Why do we completely ignore our own biological limits? We do it because we have absorbed an invisible, highly toxic societal script. We have been subtly conditioned to believe that being a good friend means being endlessly available. We've internalized this idea that saying yes to everything makes you a good person, and saying no makes you a selfish, unreliable flake. We have essentially convinced ourselves that modern friendship is a performance. Let's look at the messy reality of your week. This is the hustle culture hangover. You have just spent 45 hours navigating a minefield of passive-aggressive corporate Slack pings. You have smiled through endless Zoom meetings, deciphered emails that say, just bubbling this up to the top of your inbox, and manage the emotions of every single person around you. By the time the weekend even approaches, your brain is absolutely fried. You are operating on emergency reserve power. But here is where the trap snaps shut. It is Monday morning. You are already exhausted from the weekend you just had. A friend texts the group chat and pitches a Thursday night happy hour. This is where our low EQ default kicks in. Panic. We feel this instantaneous, crushing guilt at the mere thought of saying no. So, instead of being honest, We fawn. Our thumbs move faster than our logic. We type back, yes, so fun, can't wait. And we throw in 3 exclamation points just to make sure they know how allegedly thrilled we are. Let's strip away the emotion for a second and look at the underlying psychology here. Why is our default reaction to immediately people please? Because in that microsecond on Monday morning, the temporary discomfort of setting a boundary feels much more dangerous to your nervous system than the future physical toll of actually going out. You are borrowing peace from Thursday to pay off your anxiety on Monday. And then the silent agony begins. You spend all of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday living with a pit of dread in your stomach. You are burning through your already depleted energy reserves trying to invent a valid excuse to escape the exact trap you just set for yourself. You start laying the groundwork early. You mention on Wednesday that you might be coming down with a bug. You actively consider faking food poisoning, a flat tire, or a sudden vague family emergency. You let this silent burnout build and fester, entirely because you prioritized being nice in the moment over being honest about your capacity. And let's say you don't use the excuse. Let's say you force yourself to go. You end up at a dimly lit, ridiculously loud tapas restaurant. You are eventually going to pay $60 for 3 miniature meatballs and a tiny plate of potatoes. The restaurant is playing club music at an aggressive volume, and you are literally screaming across a tiny table, losing your voice just to hear your friend recap her latest, completely mediocre dating app matches. You are nodding. You are smiling. You are making the appropriate facial expressions, but you are completely dissociated. You are just a warm body in a chair, performing the role of a supportive friend, counting down the minutes until it is socially acceptable to ask for the check. Here is the harsh but liberating truth. That is not connection. If you are forcing yourself to show up when your battery is completely dead, your presence is entirely performative. And what is even worse than the performance itself is the quiet resentment that starts to build underneath it. You sit across the table from someone you genuinely care about, and you secretly blame them for dragging you out of your house. But let's be radically honest for a second. They did not drag you out. You dragged yourself out because you did not have the psychological tools to tell them the truth. So why does it feel so incredibly dangerous to just say, I am too tired to come? To understand this, we have to look at the invisible war happening inside your body every single time you get a dinner invite. In psychology, there is a term for this exact tug of war. It is called the Approach-Avoidance conflict. And it is the exact reason you feel like you are tearing yourself in half on a Friday afternoon. On one side, you have your brain's deep evolutionary panic. Your brain is hardwired for tribal belonging. When that text comes in, your anxiety spikes and your brain starts screaming at you. It tells you that if you do not go out, you are going to be left behind. You are going to get quietly phased out of the group chat. You are going to lose all your friends. You will never be invited to anything ever again, and you will ultimately die alone. That is the approach drive. We desperately want to belong. But on the exact same wavelength, you have your severely depleted nervous system. Your body is physically pulling you in the opposite direction. Your shoulders are tight, your eyes are heavy, and your nervous system is telling you, if I have to perceive one more human face today, if I have to process one more loud noise or make small talk for one more minute, I will literally combust. That is the avoidance drive. Your body is fiercely begging for safety, quiet, and recovery after days of absolute overstimulation. If your chest tightens just thinking about that conflict, I need you to hear this. This is not you being a flake. This is a brutal, high-stakes collision between your psychological needs and your biological reality. When you do not know how to navigate this conflict, you default to the guilt spiral. You convince yourself that setting a strict boundary around your energy is a direct betrayal of the friendship. You think that saying no makes you a bad person. But we have to completely separate the concept of being nice from the concept of being respected. They are not the same thing, and they never will be. Being nice is an automatic, low EQ reflex. It is a people-pleasing trap. It is telling people what they want to hear so they do not feel disappointed, even if it completely destroys your own peace. Being respected, on the other hand, requires you to be honest, even when it is wildly uncomfortable. Here is the psychological truth we avoid. If you force yourself to go out when your battery is completely dead, you are not actually giving your friend the gift of your company. You are giving them a hollow, exhausted shell of yourself. You are actively lying to them about your capacity, and you are breeding silent resentment in a relationship that is supposed to be your safe haven. True, adult friendship cannot survive on a diet of forced performances and secret exhaustion. It just can't. So the question becomes, how do we actually stop doing this? How do we let someone down without destroying the relationship and without spiraling into a pit of anxiety? Let's look at the exact moment the trap actually gets triggered. It is calming. 00 p.m. on the day of the hangout. Your phone vibrates on your desk. You glance down and see those 5 terrifying words on your lock screen. Still on for tonight? Your stomach instantly drops to the floor. Your heart rate spikes. It is time to make a choice. You can either keep lying to keep the peace, or you can finally start protecting your energy. Usually, we panic, and we default to the messy, low EQ cancellation. We start typing out a frantic, massive paragraph of absolute fiction. We say, "I am so incredibly sorry. Work has been absolutely insane today, and my stomach kind of hurts, and I just can't make it. Please don't hate me. I know I'm the worst." Let's put a psychological X-ray on that specific dynamic. Why is that response so fundamentally damaging? Because it is entirely manipulative, even if you don't mean it to be. By over-explaining, faking an illness, and heavily weaponizing your own guilt by begging them not to hate you, you are forcing the person who was just let down to actively comfort you. You are making them manage your anxiety about canceling. You leave them no room to just be reasonably bummed out about the change of plans. We have to stop doing this. Here is your tactical roleplay. Instead of sending the frantic paragraph, I want you to put the phone down. Pause for 3 full seconds. Take the desperation out of your internal tone and try sending this instead. I've hit an absolute wall this week, and my social battery is at 0. I need to take a rain check on tonight so I can actually be present with you next time. Have so much fun, and let's reschedule for next week. If your chest tightens just thinking about pressing send on that text, I completely get it. It feels terrifyingly blunt. But here is the harsh, liberating truth. It is clean. It is deeply respectful. You are owning your exhaustion without apologizing for having basic human limits. Yes, you are going to have to sit with the temporary, highly uncomfortable feeling of disappointing someone. But I promise you, that is infinitely better than sitting with the deep, quiet resentment of abandoning yourself. But what if you genuinely do want to see this friend? You miss them. You want connection. You just cannot fathom sitting upright in a loud restaurant while wearing uncomfortable clothes. This is where we need to completely redefine adult friendship. We need to introduce the concept of adult parallel play. We mistakenly believe that hanging out always has to be an event. We think it has to be highly stimulating, highly conversational, and heavily performed. If we don't have the energy to be fully on, we assume we have to cancel the entire friendship for the evening. Instead of canceling, I want you to try pivoting the dynamic. You take control of the interaction and send this exact redirection. I really want to see you, but I honestly don't have it in me to go to a restaurant tonight. Do you want to just come over in sweatpants, order Thai takeout, and read our books on the couch? Zero pressure to be on. Look at what that phrasing structurally accomplishes. It validates the friendship immediately, but it completely removes the performance anxiety. It normalizes hanging out just to exist in the same room together. And I can practically guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, your friend is going to text back with a massive sigh of relief, because they are just as burned out as you are. After you send that text, whether you choose the clean cancellation or the pitch for parallel play, I want you to physically prepare yourself for what happens next. You are going to press send, drop your phone face down on the mattress like it is suddenly radioactive, and stare at the ceiling. Your heart is going to hammer in your chest. The 3 little typing dots are going to appear on the screen, and almost immediately, a massive wave of guilt is going to rush in, desperately trying to convince you to send a frantic follow-up apology. Hold the line. Do not pick the phone back up. Here is the harsh but liberating truth we have to accept today. Transitioning from a chronic people pleaser to someone who actually protects their peace is really, really uncomfortable at first. Your body is going to fight you. You will feel incredibly guilty the first few times you do it. But we have to fundamentally rewire how we interpret that exact feeling of guilt. Our low EQ default is to assume that because we feel guilty, it means we did something wrong. Your anxiety will scream at you that you are a selfish, terrible friend for prioritizing your tired body over someone else's temporary entertainment. But let's put a psychological X-ray on that emotion. That guilt is not a moral failing. It is not a signal that you are broken. That guilt is simply the emotional growing pains of breaking a deeply ingrained habit. It is the mental friction of unlearning the toxic societal rule that your energy belongs to everybody else before it belongs to you. Let's be radically honest for a second about what actually happens to your relationships when you stop performing. Our deepest, darkest fear is that if we take off the fun mask, if we stop being endlessly available and hyper-accommodating, our friends will realize we are boring and leave us. We secretly believe that our friendships are only held together by our willingness to be exhausted for them. But the exact opposite is true. Enduring adult friendships do not just survive this kind of boundary. They actually deepen because of it. When you stop performing, you give the people around you permission to stop performing too. You create a safe ecosystem where both of you are allowed to be human and messy and completely drained. Because if a relationship requires you to be constantly burned out and entirely disconnected from your own needs just to maintain it, that is not a friendship. That is a hostage situation. And you are the only one who can unlock the door. If your chest tightens just thinking about navigating this dynamic, if you struggle with exactly what to say in these high-stakes moments, or how to sit with that intense wave of guilt without immediately caving and over-apologizing, I highly recommend the book Set Boundaries, Find Peace by Nedra Glover Tawwab. I cannot overstate this. It is essentially a survival toolkit for unlearning the nice syndrome. It gives you the exact psychological armor you need to stop living for other people's comfort. I've put a link to it in the description below. I want you to take a deep breath. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to stay home. You do not owe the world a performance tonight. I'm your host here at Paperweight Thoughts, and I'm here to help you get a little stronger and a little more peaceful every day. Subscribe if you want to figure this whole adulting thing out together. I'll see you in the next one.